Hello, this video is going to be very different from other videos. I just wanted to come here quickly just to say that you can be racist to white people and power dynamics don't matter. The main reason certain people say that you can't be racist to white people is because white people have never been systemically oppressed, and it's literally I don't know, I forgot what it's called, but it's literally just a sentence regurgitated by these people. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, you can't be racist to white people. They've never been systemically oppressed. You can only be prejudiced. And it's like so infuriating to hear, because you cannot rewrite a definition in which the definition of this word already exists. If you're a minority and you look down on white people, that's not prejudice, that's racism. Google is free, okay? The definition of racism is prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. It says typically. It does not mean it must be a group that's marginalized or a minority. And when we talk about minority, in a Western society, we can say, yeah, white people are the majority group. But if we're talking about like South Korea, Japan, China, India, white people are not majorities. You really think that racism doesn't exist in other countries against white people? Like, we don't hear about it, but it's obviously it can happen. We don't know that. 7 billion people in this world, and you really think a white person will never be racially discriminated against? You can't be this stupid. Just because they have so much, privileges does not mean that, they're completely exempt from having racist stuff thrown against them. Now, I want to just make it clear, I don't have white friends. I don't have a white partner. I live in a predominantly Asian community, which is East Asian and South Asian. So I'm not biased in any single way. I'm seeing this in a third person view, and I'm saying that you can be racist to white people. The problem with this, systemic oppression kind of esque thing is that we're forgetting there's already something called systemic racism. There's something called systemic racism, and there's something called racism. I completely respect your opinion, but I just think that when we're talking about equality, saying this kind of stuff does not help your case at all. You don't want to look at this majority group to be an oppressor. You don't want to see all of them as these bad people all the time. Similar to this video that I actually had, it's called Hating Rich People Doesn't Make You a Better Person. And this is also very unbiased, completely unbiased opinion here. And just seeing this totally biased hatred for a group that is the majority is just, I can't, I'm not gonna stay silent. And I do understand there are racial issues still. I don't even have a lot of points to this. I mean, I can do a lot of rebuttals, but I don't even have points, because why is this a discussion? Reverse racism isn't real. It's just racism. And I did see this argument, I can't remember where I did, but it's like, since men have never been systemically oppressed, why can we be sexist to men? You know what I mean? Like, we can be sexist to men. Why can't we be racist to white people? I just don't understand it. And when we talk about, privilege, I do agree that people do have an advantage of certain things. However, I think before we start telling people to check their privilege, I think we should check ours as well. As someone who lives, you know what? What's really funny? I saw this white privilege test or this quiz, and I did it. But my hair's still oily. I did a white privilege test just today. So in this quiz, it says if you have over 13 out of 26, you should reconsider if white privilege plays a role in your life. I got 17 out of 26. How does that work? There are a few questions that ask, when you go to a store and you ask for the manager, do they look like you, etc., etc. Are you represented in the community, stuff like that? I'm represented everywhere, except for Hollywood. But at the end of the day, I'm privileged, and with my skin color as well, I'm very light. That's a privilege. In my country, they're very colorist. too, and I acknowledge that I'm very privileged for being white. I'm also very privileged for being a woman in a first world country. I don't get to sleep on an empty stomach. I'm very privileged that, you know, I have a roof over my head. I don't like being oppressed. I don't like feeling so oppressed. I still have intrusive thoughts. I'm scared of men sometimes, but you know, I have to acknowledge my privilege as well before telling other people to acknowledge their privilege. The discussion about privilege is really tricky because the fact that I have 17 out of 26 in the white privilege test is very strange. I think maybe if they change up the questions, it'll be different. The topic of race has gone out of hand, and you know, how progressive can we be without being annoying? Jordan Peterson actually retweeted an article that talks about why progressives ruin Democrats. It's a good read. I'll put it in the link in the description below. We need to stop getting into our feelings. You know, we need to stop letting this get into our emotional, you know, section in our mind. We need to be logical about this because I think empathy is very important when we want to establish an equal society. When I tell people my political, like only in the spectrum, not the compass, I tell them, you know, yeah, I do side with conservatives, but I do have liberal views. You know, I think if you have completely full-on liberal views for all of your views, I think there's a problem. If you have all conservative views, I think it's a problem. There should be a balance. I totally accept any comments, any dislikes, likes. Please subscribe, and yeah, thanks.